What's going on? What's going on?
What's up, Raymond?
It ain't nothing. Ulysses.
Ulysses. I
Ulysses.
like how you added three syllables to our first name.
Yeah, you know. Sometimes you got to do that.
Yeah. Give it validity.
Sometimes you
That's
got to add something. You got to add stuff to it.
to make it
Got that
make it up.
little bitty one syllable name. Nobody want to hear
Yeah,
that. Anyway, man,
yeah.
what's going on? Welcome back to the lounge. I'm Ray True Life. Bald head bastard over there is Yule
That's what I
Chevalier
want to hear.
Neil.
That's what I want to hear. That bald head bastard. That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear. Bruno Lyons is in the building. What's up,
Bruno
Bruno?
Lyons in here with us early, man. What's going on, man? What's going on?
James, Mayday, Mayday, Mayday.
You out here giving out governments.
That's what we do.
Hey, man, let's get this toast out the way.
It's your turn.
So this toast is going to go to another great show, man. We've been doing this for a while. This is season 3. We've come a long way. We've got graphics and stuff now. And this toast is coming. This toast is going to the future of the Lounge Live with Ray True Life
Cheers.
and Chevalier Life.
Cheers, my brother.
Cheers.
This Jamaican rum got me bent.
Uh-oh.
Gonna have me bent in a little bit. Oh Lord.
You going to be on
I
here
don't know.
dancing?
Yeah, since they ain't American and they ain't in America, I'm gonna show it. Rum bar. Let me tell y'all something. It smells like being on the island of Jamaica. That's all I will say. They must drink a lot of rum down there because the
Oh, they
smell
drink
is
a lot of rum.
the smell is so familiar. It's pot still Jamaican rum by Rum Bar.
Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor. They're in,
We gotta start saying that after you talk about somebody's stuff. We gotta start saying that.
but you know, I am gonna talk about this cigar I'm smoking because it's our homeboy cigar. It's Heart of a Lion.
Well, we
I'm
can talk
smoking.
about that because we can talk about. I'm smoking the double Corona from El Jefe.
Which
From El
that's
Jefe
the
Lounge.
I
That's the
smoked
double
that one
Corona.
last night. I smoked that one last night. I was at the lounge, El Jefe Cigar Lounge, 1511 North Carroll, Dallas,
Cloud
Texas.
Bros, what's up? JLW Cigars, what's going
What's
on?
up,
Thank y'all
Cloud
for
Brother?
joining us.
JLW, what's happening? What's happening? We appreciate you joining us, man. We are back with another edition of the lounge. Look here. We you got anything you want to get off your chest right now?
I don't know. I don't know if I got something I want to get off my chest. I gotta think about that. I don't think I have anything that I
Dude,
want to get off my
that's
chest.
that's 3 weeks in a row, man. You got a happy streak going.
Life is good, I guess. I guess life is good right now.
Yeah, you got a happy streak going. I'm trying to think if I got anything I want to get off my chest, and right now, I don't think I do, man. Everything that's going on that I don't like, I don't care about. So it ain't on my
Right,
chest.
right.
It's not on my chest, man. Maybe. I tell you what. Instead of get it off your chest, I'm gonna do a second toast, man. I'm gonna do a second toast. How about we do that?
But we could do a second toast. I'm with
Let's
it.
do a
Let's
second
go.
toast. I'm gonna toast the new beginnings. There's so many different things that are happening for all of us. So there's the new beginnings in our lives, whatever they may be. Cheers.
Cheers.
I had when I talk about new beginnings, I got a new position at work recently, man. That is like, it's taking up all my free time. People are messaging me and calling me and texting me, and I'm barely calling back. It's been a transition. So for
Man,
those of you,
hold on 1 second while you sitting here running your mouth and slapping stuff away from the camera. Eugene Frazier, won't you come on and join us one day? You be in the comments and on every post, man. Come and join us.
don't he though? I
Junior
posted a
Lily,
picture.
come on and join us for the
Come on,
conversation.
Junior Lily. I posted something in a suit one day. He was like, "Yeah, just like me."
Because he always got a suit on.
And I was like, "Eugenie O."
The link to join is in our broadcast channel. Y'all jump in there and come join this conversation, man. We gonna
Oh
continue
yeah,
our conversation from last week, the power of reinvention.
yeah,
So
yeah. That's a good topic for them to join in on. I always look at his name on there. I'll be like Eugenie O. Fraser.
Eugenio Fraser, Julian, what's going on, man?
What's up,
Good to
Julian?
see you back. Good to see you back. It's been a
You
while.
bet. Julian, the next time you come back, you don't have to do it this time. Wear some headphones, man, so we can hear you.
Yeah, because we can't be hearing you.
We sometimes we be struggling to hear you, but we glad that you're here though, like that.
Yeah, like, are you talking right now? We can't hear you.
He said something.
Get you some headphones. We can't hear you.
You got some wireless headphones at the crib. Yeah,
Yeah,
grab
go
those, man.
grab your headphones.
You sound like you in the closet with your head underneath the dirty clothes. You sound real distant, man. It sound like real distant. We can see, we see your mouth moving, but we can barely hear.
Yeah, get your headphones and come back.
Please.
I don't think he can hear us. Oh, there you go. Eugene, I just sent you the link.
Eugenio.
Eugene EO.
Eugenio Fraser.
So last week we started talking about the power of reinvention.
Right.
We talked about things that you used to believe that you no longer believe. We talked about the hidden cost of success and a host of other things that rolled right out of that. So now want to talk a little bit. We just pivot a little bit and talk about the stillness. Like, how do you deal with the noise online and in your head? Like, so the question would be, if your inner voice had a name and personality, what would it be? First part of the question.
Wait a minute. Say that again.
If your inner voice had a name and a personality, what would it be?
It would probably be something like Leroy Jackson.
Yeah, you. I can see you
It
having
would
a
be
Leroy.
like it could be like a Leroy Jackson. Like it'd be that brother that almost doesn't have a filter. The things that I think in my mind sometimes, man, I have to find ways to quiet that noise because it's like having a good angel and a bad angel on your shoulder. My,
Yeah,
Leroy Jackson is the bad angel. Like he listens to songs like "I feel like slapping a nigga today," slapping a nigga today. He's like that. He's always on 10. He's always ready. But Yule on the other shoulder is always trying to be level headed and think it through. And so, I would look at him as somebody that you know, would challenge me to speak up at times when I think I shouldn't. He's that
yeah.
alter ego, you know. But everybody needs that. You need that contrast in your life and in your thought process, man. It's not a bad thing. People think it is, but it's really not a bad thing because there are times, man, that we are quiet or we don't move when we really should. You know,
Right.
go, we lose opportunities because we're second guessing ourselves. And so when the Leroy Jackson in me says, "Hey, man, hey, get up, let's go, man. What the fuck is up? He's gonna cuss at me. He's gonna tell me, hey, man, you BSing, you know." And so we need that. We need that.
So Leroy Jackson, right? Um,
Hmm.
how would you deal with that with Leroy talking to you, and then you have social media, and then you have your businesses, and you have your family, and you have all of that. How do you deal with those things?
The way I deal with it, it's almost like I'm schizophrenic. I'm
Mm-hmm.
having conversations in my mind all the time about certain things. I'm saying no, this is not the way. Leroy is saying this is the way. Social media is saying this is what we want, and me and Leroy are arguing and figuring out how to give it to him without without compromising who I am and what I do. No matter what you do, social media is it's like a monster that's asking for more, and you gotta constantly be able to reinvent yourself. And but the struggle in that, I think, for me, in my Leroy Jackson thoughts are, how do I do it and be true to myself all the time? And that's the conflict.
Yeah.
That's the conflict, and what I do as Yule is I say no matter what the conflict, I'm not gonna succumb to the pressure.
Hmm.
If me and Leroy can't agree, then I'm just gonna do what I always do. But I'm gonna do something. I'm not gonna stop and lay down because I'm frustrated about, what, or feel like I'm losing touch because I feel like I can't come up with something that they may like. The people that follow me like me for what I do. So I deal with that, and I don't allow those the opposing views in my mind to put pressure on me. I just go back to what I know.
Yeah.
You know, what you know is what's safe.
Right.
And when you want to step out the box, when it's time to step out the box, man, something always happens that it comes naturally, and you're able to do so. There's no questions, and then there's no conversation in your mind either. When you step out the right way, everything is silent. You know,
True. True.
for
What
me,
about you, Junior Lily? If you heard the question,
I
while
didn't hear
you
the
over there
question. I
glitching
know,
out like
man.
you
What's
in the
going
Matrix.
on? You cats got me in here looking like I'm an anime or something, just flipping out. I didn't hear the question, though. Could you please repeat it, sir?
So what we doing now? I'm building to talking about the role of silence in a loud world, right?
Yeah.
So if your inner voice had a name and a personality, what would it be?
That's a good question because I was writing about that. Being not saying somebody's schizophrenic, but you use different personalities to deal with certain situations. My inner voice would be Junior Lily, honestly, because that personality that I use allows me to speak to the masses, to speak outside my comfort zone. I'm usually an introvert, so man, I'll be to myself. I do what I need to do and handle my business. That's the Don side of it. But the extroverted is what I use as a persona for Junior Lily. It allows me to step out there and just speak on it.
I like that. I like that, man.
Yeah.
What is up with your
I'm
camera?
finna go back out and come back in because this is crazy, man. Let me jump
I
out and
thought
jump
you,
back
I
in.
thought you had one of them backgrounds going or something, man.
Yeah,
I
let
didn't
me,
know what was going. I thought he had a filter on or something.
yeah,
let
like
me
the
jump out.
filter background. I thought it was like something like that. That's why I didn't say anything. I figured it was gonna catch up.
That's what I was
Whatever it
thinking at
was,
first,
gonna catch up.
but uh, for me, I mean, I haven't named my inner voice, but I
Hmm.
imagine if it had a name, it it would. I don't even think a name would do it justice. Nope, still there. I don't even think a name would do it justice because the inner voice is my inner voice is like confused a lot.
Yeah, yeah,
Like it. And let me elaborate on that because anyway. So like if my inner voice is always against, for the most part, what I'm doing in public,
okay.
what I'm doing. What's going on, man?
Sup, sup, sup?
Hey,
So
what's up, bro?
What's up, man?
It's good to see you, man.
You too, brother. What's going on, man? How you
nothing
guys
Man,
been,
much,
all right?
nothing much. Doing pretty good.
yeah,
Just
Good,
yeah,
yeah.
it's
good,
good to
good.
see you, man. Where you been?
Same old, man. Just been busy, busy, busy.
Life of
Busy with,
of a parent, busy with
yep,
kids.
busy with the kids, and I was on vacation for a while. Well, only for
I
only
sure need one of those.
for only two days of that was
Yeah, me
though.
too, man. Me too. Me too.
Shut up. You just went on vacation.
Again, again.
So
But
what else is going on? I mean, how's family? How's what's going on?
man,
Man,
everything is
everybody's
everything is
good.
going pretty good.
Good, man.
Yeah,
Good, excellent.
everything is everything, man. We we were together in New Orleans during PCA, and Ray was doing NOLA Cigar Fest. I was doing PCA and NOLA Cigar Fest. And
Nice,
it was
nice.
it was a
Awesome.
good time, man. And then they were here.
Yeah,
Him and his
I
wife
think
were
next
here.
year. I think next year I'm gonna try my best to go to PCA next year and come see y'all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you got to
it's
do
gonna
it,
be in
man.
New Orleans next year.
Where?
Oh,
It's
New
gonna be in New
Orleans.
Orleans next year too.
Nice.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
haven't been in New Orleans in a while. The last time I went to New Orleans is when I had a fight over there. I had to go over there for the national team. I had to go fight in New Orleans, and they
Well,
had
you,
a they
That's how we
had
say it up north,
over
New
there.
Orleans.
yeah, that's how they say it up north, New
Up
Orleans.
north,
Don't
New
nobody else
Orleans.
say it like that.
New
I'm just
Orleans.
trying to say New Orleans because I'm down here in Texas now. But you
New
know,
Orleans.
all of the singers and everything they be singing about, they be like New Orleans.
Yeah, that
I
that
don't know where
that
all
place
the
don't exist.
yeah, not in New Orleans. It doesn't. Well,
Mm-mm.
it's in Chicago. It's New Orleans. You going
Everywhere
down?
else, that's what it is.
You going to Essence Fest in New Orleans? It sound more, poetic.
Hey, you're back.
Yes,
You still. You're not
it's that
flapping
background.
around.
You gotta,
Change browsers, man. That I was using Firefox. That was the
Oh,
issue.
oh.
Yeah,
You're trying to security, trying to be secure.
yeah.
So like I was saying, so like normally, like say I experience something. For an example, a person that works snatches a paper out of my hand.
really?
I'll
Really?
say the first thing that come to my mind, but my inner voice is like, "Hey, man, shut up."
You didn't listen, but you didn't listen to it.
And then when
I digress.
or my inner voice would be like, "Don't say nothing." I'm like, "Man, shut up." Or if I don't say something, my inner voice is like, "Hey, man, you might need to say something this time." That's what I mean by it's always the opposite. So my inner voice is probably not the best thing for me to be listening to some of the times because it don't know what it want to do.
No, it doesn't. I can speak on that. You get pretty hot.
Yeah.
It gets pretty hot.
But as that relates to dealing with all of the outside noise, right?
Mm-hmm.
I find that sitting by myself in silence
Mm-hmm.
with only the sound of a fan
Man,
helps.
country.
Well, first of all, it's hot. Second of all, silence is too loud. Sometimes silence is way too loud. And we can delve off into that if you want to, but sometimes silence is way too loud. But like true. I just stay away from all of this stuff because you have to remember, a lot of people most people on social media are only putting the best of themselves on social media. Then you have you're bombarded with all of these news stories that we're supposed to care about, I guess, but I don't really care about what's going on with Diddy or any of that. I don't care, So you really have to figure out how you sit and how you deal with these things. You have to figure out how you how not to internalize all of the outside influences and let them change who you are.
Right.
It's true.
100%
on that. I think, man, that when you say that the quiet is noisiest of all, I think that's when you're forced to hear all the things that you really don't want to hear, in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I think we need those voices, whether they're negative or positive, man, to give us some sanity, to keep us from going to a place that we may not want to go, and if you're a person that's prone to depression or something like that, sometimes you need some noise. You need that noise, and so
I don't know. I would beg to differ that.
You think?
Yeah, I would beg to differ.
Why? What's your thought?
Because
go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead. Go ahead. I've been talking. Go ahead.
I feel it's like should be a healthy balance because I sit in silence, and that's how my thought process comes up with ideas, concepts, especially when being a poet and a writer. But then at the same time, there are times where I need some background noise. You said a fan. I prefer music, jazz music, just real low, or just some R&B, and that allows me to feel what the other person is feeling and see if I can enhance what I'm doing and what I'm experiencing to a different level to get out that comfort zone. And I just think it should be 50-50. I don't think it should be one side.
I get that.
I'll be back.
I think it's safe to say that, you know, everything, whatever you feel, it's something that is unique to you, that works for you as an individual. You know, for us as individuals, you know, me, I really like the quiet. I really do, man. Like getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning. You know, sometimes I come out here on the patio. Ray's been here to the house and seen it. He'll come out into the living room at 4 a.m. and I'm sitting out here with nothing on. You know, when I nothing on noise.
Don't say nothing on. Don't say that.
And that was
Diddy pause right there.
Yeah, as soon as I said it, I was like, "Oh shit, no!" I have something on. I mean, no noise, no television, no music, and you know, some of my deepest thoughts, man. You know, when I'm trying to really like decipher things that are in my head, it happens right then, and it happens fast. You know, it happens fast, and so, you know, I think it's all relative and you know, individually specific, individual specific.
Yeah, I agree with that.
This is what I meant by that. So, a lot of times, right? It's a lot of the outside influences that can push. I'm not saying this is true for everybody, but it's a lot of times you can get.
What? What's wrong with your wife, bro? Keisha Watson, what you talking about? Balls deep in the backyard? What's going on at your house, Raymond?
Oh
man,
he's speechless. He's speechless.
Hey,
I lost my train of thought.
I'm just balls deep in the backyard.
What?
Keisha, you got to come on and explain that one of these days. We got to put a pin in that one, and you got to explain that one.
Yeah, that. Oh, okay. Where was I? Where was I?
You was clearly balls deep in the backyard. You was clearly balls deep in the backyard sometime this week.
I was not. I was not.
You clearly was. You clearly
I don't know where that came from. I don't know what's going on. Anyway,
we see why Trump is trauma. I didn't say it.
God.
Chopper going look for his frisbee, and Chibage sitting on the couch, wide open, just looking.
Balls deep in the backyard,
trying to be philosophical. That's how he make his thoughts of a classic man, y'all. So y'all,
I'm sitting back here,
sitting
man.
out there, balls deep in the backyard.
Balls deep in the backyard, I guess. I thought that was about you, Raymond.
I don't be balls deep in the backyard.
I don't either. I don't even really know what that means.
You the one said you be. You the one that said you be sitting out there with nothing on.
Nothing on.
No, and I corrected that. I said
it was too late.
I mean, with no noise. I meant so soon as I said that. But balls deep in the backyard. Balls deep in the backyard.
That's what she said.
I guess. Damage. Definitely emotional damage. Thank you, Keisha.
Oh Lord,
that was funny. I can see her saying it too. Raymond, he's balls deep in the backyard. Chevalier, why are you balls deep in the backyard? Raymond, I don't like this.
You got to stop saying balls deep in the backyard, sir.
Okay, I didn't say it. I'm reading.
I know, but it's enough of that. Move on.
Your wife said it. I'm just saying.
I don't know why.
Keisha Watson. We need to put a picture of Keisha Watson on top of the boundary box, buddy.
What up, Daniel? 505 Cigar Review. What's going on, man?
What's up, number one genticle?
It's
What's up,
crazy.
buddy?
It's crazy. Somebody said balls deep, and he pops in.
He pops in. As soon as balls deep comes up in here. He's like, I balls deep in the backyard, guy.
I was sitting out there, and I was just lighting up a cigar, just balls deep in the backyard.
And up here where it's kind of cold outside, they start to shrivel a little, but it's okay because I have a big blanket. He starts. That's how he talks, man. We love him. Number one gentleman.
Okay, now
This is our little boundary box.
enough about the shriveling.
Wow.
Balls deep.
Balls deep in the backyard.
Oh man, balls deep
That's
in
it,
the
that's
backyard.
it.
That's definitely gonna be a clip. Anyway,
It can't be. Can it be? You need to make sure you put Mykesha Watson on there, balls deep in the backyard. Like, I thought she was talking about you. I didn't know what she was talking about.
Was not talking about me. I have never been balls deep in the backyard. I lost my whole train of thought.
I did too. We were talking about the silence, the lack of noise, the silence, man. And
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I know where I was at.
Yeah.
I know where I was at. So sometimes for people, the outside influences, right, become so loud that it puts you into a depressional state. So sometimes that silence of just turning everything off will help.
Hmm.
And that's where I feel if you're worried about your finances and all you see is people showing off their new cars or people going on trips or people throwing money in the air and all of this, then yeah, you're gonna get depressed. Well, what do I got to do? Or if you're having issues at work and then you got people that's dancing at work and having a great time, you're gonna be depressed.
Right.
So sometimes turning off all of the outside influences can help you to reset.
yes,
You
yes,
know what I
indeed,
mean?
yes, indeed.
Absolutely. There's certain things to put in social media, and there's some things that you don't put in.
Right.
You don't put everything in because some people don't like it, and some people do, or some people take it the wrong way, and it starts a whole like shabil.
First of
A
all,
what?
what
A
is a
shabil?
shabil?
Shabil, and I just made that.
What is
I don't know.
You sound like an old Polish guy.
Yeah.
what is a
Sound like a
shabil? I've never heard of that before.
It's a whole shabil. It's a whole shabil.
Daniel say, who's throwing money in the air? I need some. Well, go on my
That would be
algorithm
right.
and find some because I say I'm not throwing. Trust me,
That would be
I
right.
ain't throwing. Only thing I'm throwing in the air is smoke.
Cigar.
Yeah. No, I'm not throwing the cigar. I'm throwing the smoke. $10 is a lot of money for me.
I know that's right. Money is money. It didn't say how much money you were throwing in there.
I throw a nickel up and catch it because I'm gonna need it.
If somebody throw a nickel up in the air over here, they got to move out. I'm tight. You got to move out. Don't be throwing nickels up. That's 5 cents towards glory. That's a whole. What is it? A whole schlemiel? What is it?
That's a whole schlemiel.
A whole schlemiel.
I don't know what a schlemiel is.
It's a whole schlemiel. That's how the dudes be talking, man. I had a neighbor like that in Indiana. Dude. He was
Here we go with the Indiana.
I'm telling you, man, Indiana shaped me into who I am today, man. I'm telling you. It was hood and then it wasn't. You just had a Polish guy.
We always got to talk about Indiana.
That's right. So moving right along. Maisha's in the building.
I see. What's going on, Maisha? What you mean moving right along? Like you got a question and you ain't got nothing to say.
I ain't got no question. Ask your question again. Let's touch it. I'm telling you, when somebody throws some shit out like balls deep in the wall, it just takes the show. It's a whole other place, man.
Yeah, balls deep in the backyard just got us all off now.
It sure did. But my Keisha came back strong. She
What up,
says
Sanj?
silence help you to reset and clear your mind. It's a form
Yep.
of self-care. No doubt.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, that's
The only
what I
thing
was
better
saying.
than that is silence with a cigar.
Right.
Silence with a cigar is the only thing better than,
Because
silence.
again, it like it forces you to slow down, right? Having a cigar forces you to slow down. It forces you to think about what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Daniel say Indiana shaped you into a female WNBA coach.
Oh wow.
Okay, I see where we're going with this now.
Oh man. I'm not gonna crack on Daniel today. I could go deep, but I'm not gonna do it today. So I wrote something the other
Balls
day.
deep?
Not balls deep, but I wrote something. You see how I went back and said not balls deep.
Not
I
balls
wrote
deep.
something the other day that just kind of came to mind, so I'm gonna read it about the pleasures of the smoke, and I relate this to, the tranquility of it, the calmness of it, and what happens when you smoke a cigar. The pleasures of the smoke: slow pull, deep breathe, clouds rise, stress fades, truth don't lie. This leaf, therapy in disguise. Peace in the puff, soul in the skies. Whiskey sipping, vibe on 10. Track hitting, play that groove again. No rush, just chill. No fake, all real. This moment right here, that's the deal. And so the reason I thought about this poem is because when I wrote it the
We're not
other
gonna
day,
give him the snaps.
Look
Give
at
him the
that poet.
snaps.
Look
I
at that
like
poet.
that.
Look at that.
thank you,
Chevalier,
thank
the
you.
poet.
I'm trying it, man. Like I've been jotting some shit down, and so I did that the other day. But the
Spit it
the
like a
reason
rhyme,
why it
man.
came to mind, man, is because when I'm smoking, man, I think in all that's going on, because as you read that, you think about all these different things that are going on. You can hear, the smoke. You can hear it when you're blowing it out in your head.
Yeah.
You can hear all these different things. You can hear as you sip the whiskey. You can the clatter of the ice in the glass. Mixing with the liquor. A slow groove hitting. The whole ambiance, man. When you think about that, that's my happy space. At certain points in that, there's noise. At certain points, there's no noise. But when you bring it all together, man, it becomes peace in a
Yeah.
sense. And I think, when Ray put this topic together, I was wondering like where he was going. We started talking about this last week. And a lot of times, and I see him do it. Ray is a master at finding peace in his mind. And I watch him we're like brothers, and I watch him as he changes. He has these pivot moments. Sometimes it's a post where he's saying "Ayo," and I'm not being funny. He's saying "Ayo," and he's sharing something in his mind. Other times is when he's sitting down in the garage, man, in his studio, and he's working and he's putting something together and he's lighting a cigar. Sometimes, man, it's him driving the bus and zoning out as people are doing their bullshit. But whatever it is, I feel like he's mastered finding peace in the midst of a storm, in the midst of chaos. And I think that that's something that we all need to realize that peace doesn't necessarily mean quiet. Sometimes it's our ability to find that peace when it feels like everything around us is going crazy.
Well, I
You
haven't
know,
mastered it yet.
you do
I'm
pretty
working
good though.
on it. I'm working
You do
on it.
pretty good.
Showed up.
It's I'm a lot better than I was. I'll tell you that.
Mhm.
But it's necessary, right? Why would I allow anybody, any person or anything to control my peace?
Mm.
It that's stupid. And I realized that I'm gonna be honest, it was like a month ago, 2 months ago, when I really was able to more or less control that. So
Yeah.
something happens, like There was a guy on the bus. What was it? A month ago, complaining because I asked him to turn his he was watching TikTok reels on the parking ride bus with people that just got off work, and they normally, if they're not asleep, they just sitting there quiet on the ride, the 30-minute ride back to the parking ride. He watching his TikTok videos, and I said a couple times while I was sitting in the chair driving, can you turn that off, please? Can you put on some headphones, please? And it kept going. So I got to a stop. I got up, I went back there, and I said, hey, man, can you turn that off? So he looked at me, he turned it off. We get to the parking ride. He waits until he's the last person to get off the bus and gonna walk up and say, you need to learn how to talk to people. You should have came back. You should have said that. And I just looked at him. I'm like, what are you talking about? You walked up to me. You said this like that. And I said, you should have just turned it off. You heard me the first time because you turned it down. I asked you to turn it off. You didn't do it. Well, you need to learn how to have a nice day.
Yeah.
So for the next 30 seconds, I'm saying to him, have a nice day. As he's taught, have a nice day. Have a nice day. Have a nice day. He get off the bus and I went on about my business and didn't let it bother me.
Yeah.
So
back in the day, you don't want to throw his ass out the back door from the front door.
Well, where I'm still working is driving, right? if you get in front of me and hit your brakes, I'm probably gonna lose it.
Yeah,
I'm probably gonna lose it and cuss you out a few times because for the life of me, I can't understand why people. I don't know if it's nationwide. I don't know if it's worldwide, but I experience it more here than I have anywhere else that I've driven. They get in front of you and hit their brakes with nobody in front of them.
That's what they do.
New Jersey's horrible. New Jersey's, oh my God, it's probably, I always have problems with it. So many people with attitude problems, to leadership, to people driving, people getting upset while driving and causing a ruckus.
How do you know that somebody who's driving the car has a problem with leadership? They call you in your car.
No, I meant like everything. Like
you're a terrible
so
leader.
Going on in New Jersey of attitudes and stuff. It's just crazy. Could you imagine you driving and right? Cody thinks you cut him off and you pull up next to you? You're a terrible leader. You should never be a supervisor and drive.
Asshole.
Yeah, at the end.
Asshole. That's a real schlemiel there, buddy.
Yeah, that's a real schlemiel right there.
That's a real schlemiel. For those of y'all that just joined us, a schlemiel is something that Cody said earlier in the show that it was.
we have no idea what it means.
It's a schlemiel.
I made it up. I have no idea, but I made it up. It's all right, though.
But yeah, man,
y'all love
you know, when you look at that whole thing, man, we talk about peace, man. It's just about trying to find it, and everybody's got their own way to do it, you know. And it for me, I know it changes all the time. Like I said, it could be being in the backyard on the patio, you know. It could be sometimes at work, man, or zoning out, you know, in a place where you wouldn't think you'd be able to find peace, man. Just finding calm amongst the noise. Peace and quiet are not mutually exclusive for me.
Yeah.
You know, just because it's peaceful, that don't mean it's quiet. I can be real peaceful at a car race, you know, a drag strip or something. I can be real peaceful there, buddy. I mean, so it just depends. It's well, you know, it just depends on the person.
Yeah, you say it depends on the person. I will go back to how a person perhaps may have came up in society, because generation Gen X and compared to millennials or Gen Z, we handle things differently. And not saying that Like one can't be the other, but I feel like how we were brought up in society, when you go through the trials and the tribulations, you get the experience, you get the wisdom, you get the knowledge to understand how to deal with it, instead of someone who's just thrown into the fire and now they're trying to seek a swim and just trying to even keep their head above water can cause
Right.
Chaos.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It just depends on the situation, man. You look at some people that are much older, and they don't struggle with that at all.
Yeah.
Or if they do, it looks totally different.
Yeah.
It looks totally different. The little things that may stress them out, or vice versa. There's some big things that don't bother them at all, because they've lived life, they've experienced some things, they're used to it, and they're not affected as much. It doesn't mean as much because of the space that they're in their life. They're in that, that season, that winter season of life, which is like your final season of life. And it doesn't affect them like it may affect some of us that are trying to grow. We trying to make it.
Yeah.
Well, what's the point of worrying? Like that's one of the things that helped me to find peace in this these last few months. Like, what is the point of worrying? Worry does nothing.
That's true,
Right.
but then again, bro, it's relative. It depends on the individual. There are people out there that the only way they can function, and y'all tell me if I'm wrong, but there are people out there, man. There are some people that all they do is like, what if this? What if that? But they worried all the time. But that's their thing, and
It's their
for
thing.
them, they're great,
It's their thing, but it does nothing. It's counterproductive. Yes, what if you walk outside and the piano falls on you? What if you walk to your car and as you're going to your car, the garbage truck loses control and hits you?
You calling out some Final Destination.
But that's what I'm saying. But people worrying about things, it's all of it is the same thing.
Yeah.
Whatever you worrying about, if you're worrying about it, you can't control it.
What they say, stop worrying and start living.
Yep.
That's what they say.
Yeah. Who the fuck is they?
I don't know who they is. I don't care what they say.
Find that out.
They really are wise,
What I know is Jesus said by which one of you by worrying can add a second to your life or something like that. I believe I'm paraphrasing. I'm not a preacher, but that's what was said, something like that. So what's the point of worrying? You can't do nothing. If you worry how you're gonna pay your rent, the time that you spend sitting there worrying how you're gonna pay your rent, get up and go do something. Call somebody. If you're worrying about, like if I drive the bus and I worry about if somebody's gonna jump in front of me, now every time somebody drives past me, I'm hitting the brakes. Every time somebody, if you were, there are people who worry so much that they stay in the house all the time.
They're a prisoner of their mind.
Yes. You become a prisoner of your mind. And that's a terrible place to be.
That's sad.
That's a terrible place to be because you can't control any of the things that you're worrying about.
Yeah, that's sad.
Would worrying be a part of someone's thought process where they don't have a plan or they have not conjured up a plan because they're steady worrying instead of saying, you know what, I got a plan B. Let me put this in action.
I think it depends on the individual once again, because there are some people like my sons. I got 3 sons that don't worry about shit and they ain't worried about a plan. You know what I'm saying? They don't lose a night of sleep over the fact that I don't know what I'm gonna do tomorrow. I got a job today. A lot of young people are that way. And if you ask our parents, they would say we were that way in their opinion because of the changes in the world. So I think that when you look at that, man, it's just really hard. It's hard to, as we had this conversation, I realized, man, it's so broad. It's so broad as it relates to how people think and how it affects them. It's really a broad issue that you really can't pinpoint. You can't even do averages. Say, the average person feels this way. You really can't. It's just.
Well,
You
I
know,
think that if worrying is part of your process, then something is broken in your process.
well, I'm broken because you know
I'm
when
not,
it
and
comes,
I'm not
I work.
saying not preparing for things,
Mhm.
but if you worry, because when you break it down and you think about it, active worrying is the opposite of action. When you're worrying about something, you're not moving.
Yeah.
You're not doing anything. All you're thinking about is the absolute worst. You know, if
Mhm.
if 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 you're like I said, if you're worrying about how you're gonna pay a bill, you're not doing anything to pay that bill because you're sitting there worrying, and now you're upset because you can't pay this bill and you don't know how you're going to pay it. Now you're depressed because you don't know how you're going to pay this bill. So now you're actively not doing anything. You're actively doing nothing.
Yeah.
You know
Or
what
you
I'm
go
saying?
through the stages that the worry causes. Like, you know, if a person's sitting there worrying about not being able to pay a bill, shit, that's just what it is. You know, they ain't doing all of that because of that. That's all a part of it. You know, those are
Well,
the
well, yeah, but
you know,
what I'm saying is, like, if you're worried about not, I don't know how I'm gonna pay this bill, the light's gonna get cut off, and you sitting and you're worrying about it, not thinking, okay, I don't know right now how I'm gonna pay this bill, the light's gonna get cut off. What do I need to do in order to keep these lights on? But if you're, that's not worrying. If you're worrying, you're sitting here. I don't know how I'm gonna pay these bills. I don't know what I'm gonna do. So now you're sitting here and you're constantly saying to yourself, I don't know how I'm going to do this. What if I don't know how? I don't know. I'm lost. And now you're not moving. So the action that you're doing is nothing.
right.
Actively doing nothing, you know, instead of figuring it out. So
It's
I,
almost
I
okay.
don't think
But
if your thought process is worry, then that's a problem. You got a problem in your thought process. If you think about all of the potential outcomes of something first, and that helps you navigate differently, that's not worrying. Think about when people get a brand new car.
Yeah.
And they worry so much about this brand new car, they barely drive it, or they pull into a parking lot and they park 6 miles from the front door where nobody else is parked because they're so worried about the car. They don't want anybody that's parked. They don't want nothing to happen to it. What happens to that car every time? Somebody gonna park
somebody parked
directly
right
next to
next to
them, open the door and hit it. They're gonna
yeah.
have a ding on their car, and somebody is always gonna be parked directly next to them.
So they're
You
gonna
can't
park
control it.
under a tree and have sap all over it when they come out of there.
Very, very
I
true.
used to be that guy. I used to do that shit.
And if you can't control it, there's no point in worrying about it. Focus on the things you can control and do what you got to do.
I agree. I agree. So let me ask you. Let me ask y'all this. We talking about that. You know, we've already talked about how do we deal with the silence, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you guys are sitting back, and I find myself wondering how to do this a lot of times, man. You know what the situation is. You know what it is. You know what it's about. You know what you're facing. How do you move forward? You see what I'm saying? Like, how do you like once you've accepted? Like we talked about the scenario. You've accepted it. How do y'all move forward? You know, would you? And better yet, the question should be, what do you look at that as when you move forward? Do you relate it to inner strength, or do you relate it more to acceptance of the situation? That,
Ooh.
here, let me clarify it even more. Would you call that ability to move forward perseverance, or would you call it perseverance, and would you say that you accepted, whatever it was you was worried about it, and you decided to persevere? I think that's a better way to ask that question.
That's a good question. Accepting it, that may be a final resort, but the perseverance of moving forward, I believe that's just based on the options. You know, you're not going to go backwards. You know, you're never going to do that. So you look at the situation and you press forward because that is the way you're going to have to go. Even if you accepted it, you're still going to have to move forward. So it's just almost like you indicated the perseverance just to go straight through that path and weather the storm.
Yeah.
Weather the storm. Because on the inside of it, you may gain insight, you may gain wisdom, you may gain some help. But you have to go through. You can't sit back and expect for somebody to pick you off the shoreline. Sometimes you got to get in the water and swim it.
I think I agree with that. So I think some people, what do they say? There was, and Ray quoted Bible verse, you know.
Reverend Ray.
Don't put that out there.
Got a nice ring to it.
I usually what I
Reverend Wayman Lawrence Watson.
I usually what I
Raven L. Watson. Raven L. Watson. Esquire.
What you got to say, Cody? Because he gonna keep yelling. I'm gonna mute him in a minute. What you got to say? Come on, Cody. What you got to say?
So I would say how I move forward. It took me for a long time to really think about this because I always took it so much like to the heart and everything. But now, I just let it die. I let all my stuff, all my past die, and I just don't look back. And I just keep going forward, and I just go day by day, and I live my life day by day, and have it. And I almost like my mind basically like just schedules it itself. You know what I'm saying? So I don't look at all what happened when I was young, what happened now, what happened tomorrow. I let it all die, and I just never look back, and I just keep on going forward and fight much as I can.
You bring up a good point, Cody. Let me ask you a question.
Hold on one second.
That's how I
Go
live
ahead.
my life.
Go ahead.
Cody, I understand everything that you said right now. There's only one thing I didn't understand. How do you look back to what happened tomorrow?
So everything, because I honestly, I look. It's kind of weird, but I basically see like the future kind of and the past. So when I sleep and everything, I know exactly what happened to me all those years, what happened to what people done to me, what I did yesterday, and then also when I'm sleeping, I kind of like knowing what's going on or what's going to happen tomorrow. It's kind of confusing.
It definitely is confusing. What's the Powerball numbers for tomorrow?
Go ahead and get that.
Since we got clairvoyant, we're all clairvoyant up in this bad.
Yeah, it's kind of like a weird kind of solution. It's like, so when I dream and when I sleep and everything, sometimes I get like really bad nightmares. What happened to me in the past, and then I basically like fight my own self in my own dreams to win that battle.
So, yeah.
It's really kind of really weird.
Yeah, that's definitely a little weird. That's why I asked. Yeah. Go ahead, Junior Lily. What you got?
I was going to ask Cody. So you said you let the past die. So in that aspect, you don't necessarily need closure to move forward. You just let it hang from a tree. Okay.
Yeah. So I basically like I just let everything die, and what happened. There's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can fix. The only thing I can fix is what's in front of me.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen tomorrow. If tomorrow brings me good news, brings me good news. If tomorrow brings me a shitty day, it brings me a shitty day. It brings me joy, it brings me joy. It brings me success, brings me success. I really, honestly, to me, if money doesn't mean nothing to me, myself or anything, I just want to keep moving forward and help others. That it didn't happen to me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so like I'm basically fighting the demons to
Mm.
succeed with the angels. So every
Mm.
time that when I sleep, I see angels and I see dark. And then I try, and then I go into like a world. It's just really weird. I don't know. It's so like
That's actually not that weird.
when I'm
Well,
battling myself, when I'm battling myself, like when I'm at the gym, right? I don't even know what I'm even doing. Everything like when I'm working out, when I'm at the gym, everything goes dark. So I just work out. I just don't even think about anything. I just train to just to make myself be better than how I was, to beat all the bad things that happened to me. It's like a warrior kind of. I don't know. It's weird. It's
That's
weird kind of.
It's actually not as weird as it may sound.
Yeah.
it makes
But
sense. Like I see what
but
you're saying.
but to Junior Lilly, there was the I'm gonna quote this great prophet, man. This great prophet. I think his name was Rafiki,
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
and he said it doesn't matter. It's in the past.
Mm. Okay,
How do you change the past?
you can't.
So
You
changing
can't
your
change it. So needing closure for something that happened
right,
is unnecessary.
right,
Hmm.
It's done. It's over. Whatever.
Yeah.
I don't need to have a final conversation. I had a friend that I was a friend for over 25 years. My best friend for over 25 years. That friendship ended. There doesn't need to be a final conversation. I don't have no ill will towards him. I don't hate him. None of that. It's just we're no longer friends. We no longer communicate. There's no conversation that I need to have with him to say this is what happened. This is how I feel about it, because it's not going to change anything.
right.
I can't go back and change any of that. So it's an experience. It's history.
Right.
So and we learn from history, but
Right.
looking forward, that's what's important, is to not
Yeah.
live in that.
So
You know
so
what I'm
like
saying?
like I'm
Yeah.
so like how I look at things when I look forward, I see it as a ladder. So I see it as day by day, and every day we wake up. I look at myself as a stepping stone. So I wake up, that's a stepping stone. I get up, that's a stepping stone. I make coffee, that's a stepping stone. So I look at myself as like a goal, and there is no ending to it. There's just how far I can get to the ladder.
You get it?
So
So
so there's so there's no end.
There's no ending.
There's no
There,
ending
there's
in
no ending.
for you.
No, there's no ending. So it's like basically like I'm just living on almost like a game, like a chess game. So I can see if I can get to the highest ladder, the highest step, much as I can, and that is from my soul, my energy, and my energy that's fighting against me, myself, and the world.
Well,
Mm.
well,
And
so
it's caused
so
me to have.
we need to dig into this a little bit more,
Yeah,
because
it's really weird. I don't know if I'm
well
talented or
well
gifted. I don't know.
I'm not saying that. I'm not gonna say it's weird or it's not weird, or any of that. What I'm gonna say is there has to be an end, right?
Well, the
There's an
ending,
end for
the
everything. There's got to be an end. I mean, so you're climbing the ladder,
hmm
and eventually there's going to be no more rungs on the ladder, or the
right,
ladder has to be leaning on to something where you're climbing.
right,
There has to be a reason, like you 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 you're always working towards something, because you're not just out here doing anything,
well,
right?
you got to think about it too. Is we all don't know about the Neo's future. We don't know if there is an ending. We
I
don't
know what
know.
my ending is going to be. I can tell you that right now. I already know what
You know?
my ending gonna be. So
but,
I'm gonna be in heaven, and then I'm gonna be in New Jerusalem, and me and Jesus gonna be sitting there talking about the olden days. I
right.
know what my ending is. So
His
if
old-
you
His
if you
older
just-
days are gonna be different from your older days. Your older days is like 1985.
well,
So-
it don't matter. I wanna talk to them. I wanna talk to all of them, man.
You're like, man, 1985, I
But
was
see-
born.
But what I'm saying is, there's an ending to everything, right? Even life, the ending is death,
Right. Yeah.
right?
That-
For some people, the ending is death.
But I think when you think about like our topic, and we're talking about, you know, like what I won't go back to the topic, but what he was saying in his mind, you know, when he's thinking about his peace, there may not really be an ending in a sense. I think I kind of see where he's going because you know they always throw out topics like you're only limited. Your thought process, you only limit your thought process. Your thoughts are limitless. You know, so when we're having this topic, I'm thinking more about like our thought processes and what we're dealing with, you know, like, and I'll relate it to us as men, because a lot of times those are the conversations that we have, you know, over cigars. So we sitting here smoking cigars and we trying to make sense out of things. You know, for me, there's no limit as to where our thoughts can take us in order to find the peace that we
right.
desire, you know, and what it looks like, man. There's like no limit. It's just relative. Death is I don't feel like death like death is not a part of that. You know,
Right.
it's
like
Well,
it's
let me-
more about we can go anywhere.
my soul and my energy, because I also I'm pretty good at reading energy and everything, and like with my energy, my ending would be I just want to see peace. That's it. Like I don't care if I have to die to save someone's life. I don't care if I have to take a bullet for someone. I don't care whatever I have to do to make sure that the people are safe, and that's how I see the world as more the world now these days. Now this world is so evil and so messed up that someone out there has to be fixing some type of energy or soul. All energy is gone.
Cody,
there's no energy.
Cody, we gonna talk off air, okay? We're
I
gonna
mean,
talk off air.
It's kind
No,
of weird.
no, you're not weird. We're gonna talk off air. We're definitely gonna talk off air.
I might be weird, but
No, I mean, well, you are weird, but not for that.
I see the world. I see the world
No
very
more than the rest
differently.
of us.
Let's just say that.
Right, you know more weird than anybody else walking this earth. So we all weirdos in one way, shape, or form. We're gonna take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
What's up, folks? This is Derek from Vic's world famous Chicken in the Cooler. These crabs, and I'm gonna shake. Really, the consistency. I was talking.
Say bacon burger, dog, because the bacon ain't rich. Man, that is gonna be.
Not gonna do it. On here, we're gonna laugh, we're gonna tell jokes. Cause that's what barbecue is all about. If you ain't having fun cooking, having people try your food, looking for that enjoyment, laughter and smile on their face, that enjoyment every time they put your meat in their mouth, man, so many different ways. But seriously,
That's why I ran that commercial.
Every time I see that commercial, that find that enjoyment when they put they meat in your mouth.
No, he don't say that. He says when they put your meat in their mouths.
It doesn't make me want to buy chicken.
That's
It doesn't make me
barbecue.
want to buy a chicken.
That's
It
barbecue.
doesn't make me want to buy a chicken.
If
I
anybody
love that.
barbecues, if anybody barbecues, then you love it when
When
people
they do
have
what, right?
enjoyment when they put your meat in their mouth.
Wait a minute, check this out. When they do what?
When they put your meat in their
No,
mouth.
the other win. When if you don't find enjoyment when they do what? They barbecue.
Barbecuing. but barbecue.
Barbecue.
Oh
That's
man.
That's B-O-B-A.
BOBAQ. Barbecue.
Barbecue.
I went to school.
Man.
with a
You
girl
put
named
your
Bubba
meat
Q.
in their mouth,
It's
and then he stops and goes, "No, I mean seriously, folks.
yeah. it's time for the vibe.
No,
I guess
I
you
guess
wasn't
we-
ready.
I'm ready, but we doing it early.
We start at 7, so the vibe is at 8, halfway through.
The vibe is at 8:30. We do the
Why would
vibe
we
every
do-
day at 8:30.
Why would we
What's
do the
wrong with
vibe
you?
at 8:30? It's not halfway. We did it at 8:30 when we were doing the show at 7:30.
I wasn't ready yet. I had the song up, but I wasn't necessarily ready. But I could be ready in about 5 seconds.
Man.
Because we don't do the vibe at 8
you just-
o'clock.
You just see what happens. See what happens when people get
No,
older.
I get thrown off when people talk about when they put your meat in their mouth, or when somebody
Didn't
says,
you just
"Oh,
put some chicken on the grill?
no,
You ain't
No.
put no chicken on the grill last week.
yeah, I did," but I don't.
So they
I don't
put
get excited
your
when they
meat in
my
their
meat
mouth.
in their mouth. That's not a selling
You ain't
point.
no barbecuer. I'm gonna just say that you ain't no real
I-
barbecuer.
I'm really not. I'm really not.
A
I
real
mean,
barbecuer gets enjoyment and is excited
when he
people
puts
are
his meat
happy.
in
When
their
people
mouth.
are happy and enjoy your meat in their mouth.
I guess. Look, I tell y'all,
Kaiser say he need a better slogan. The slogan should be, I hope you're enjoying every bite of that delicious grill, or glad to see you savoring the smoky goodness. No, we're gonna stick with put my meat in your mouth.
Oh my god.
and on that note, I'm gonna just start the vibe right here. I'm starting the vibe right here. I'm done with the meat in the mouth. Hey, look here. This is the vibe. We do this every week on the lounge. And I tell you what, man, the track we listen to tonight, it's going to take our minds off the meat in the mouth. It's called The Beat Spot, man, by Byron Miller. It's a smooth jazz groove that I love to listen to. You know, it's the vibe where we relight our cigars, re-pour our whiskey, and feel the vibe, and then get back to the conversation. God damn. The meat in the mouth.
Enjoy the vibe, smoke your cigar, and put some meat in your mouth.
Put some meat in your mouth.
What's
Hey,
going
go
on,
ball-
George? Good
Hey,
evening.
go balls deep in the backyard when you get a chance.
Go, hey,
Go balls
and,
deep in the backyard when you get a
and
chance.
while you at the barbecue putting meat in your mouth, go and go
Go balls
balls
deep in the backyard. Yeah. quote courtesy of Mike Keisha Watson.
I don't know where that came from. Balls deep in the backyard.
I don't either. I have no idea what she posted. She just wrote that in the comments. She telling y'all business. I need to change the music. That's we talk about balls deep in the backyard, boy. Let me change that up. Y'all want me to change? Nah, I don't.
You don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. We be all right.
So Ray, I tell you something. Let me stop the music for the vibe. Let me tell you something. So yesterday, I was sitting back thinking about what I was gonna play for the vibe, and normally when we do the vibe, I don't know what I'm gonna play. It's just like whatever hits me while I'm sitting here and how our conversation is going. But yesterday, man, I was sitting at work in my office, and I said to myself, I remember when Ray played this song. He dropped the Hot 16 for me on that song that you made. And just now I was looking for it because I got it downloaded in my Apple Music, man. Like the track that you did when you was rapping, man. I forget. I think it was a Erica Badu song or something. I don't know what you was Ratatouille. It might have been.
Which
I don't
one?
know what it was.
The newest
Let-
one?
No. You know what? We gonna talk, but man, I gotta find it because I had downloaded it, man, and I don't know what it was about it, but it hit me yesterday while I was at work, and I started playing it on my phone. I have it downloaded in my phone, but I got my iPad. But it was one of the songs that you played, man, and it was I just goddamn, I can't even.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I was gonna play it. I thought about playing it for the vibe, but I didn't want to do that because you know, I didn't ask you first if you was all right with sharing that
don't
side.
care.
Look, if I can't find it, man.
I don't care. I
I
don't
was
have
like,
it on my computer, so I can't.
I have it on my phone. I'm looking to see if it's on my iPad.
Well, if you find it, we can do another vibe. But
Yeah, we're gonna have to do another vibe.
we can get back into this conversation, man. Because
Yeah, let's do that.
we I believe we've uncovered something within young Cody here.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm weird. Sorry.
Then young Cody.
I'm a
It's not,
different.
Young,
it's not that you're weird. It's not that
the
you're weird.
force is strong with this one. The force is strong with this.
That's why I'm a lonely guy.
What's your thoughts, Junior Lily? You've been mighty quiet sitting up there with your fancy background.
Listening to you cats, man. This is a deep topic. I think it's one that needs to be addressed, or at some point in your life, you should be able to look back and reflect as to how you're dealing with situations, how you get emotionally charged in a certain environment, and then determine how you can become a better version of yourself. There was a time in my life when I was a hothead, like you pop it off, spark flies. But now as you get older, you're like, okay, I ain't that same young cat no more. I got a different philosophy. So my focus is different, and my drive is going in a different direction. So I have to, you have to adapt and pivot.
Yeah. I agree with that, man. You don't dwell in the past, but you learn from history.
Yeah.
And if you don't understand where certain things come from or the reason why you react to things a certain way, then you're prone to repeat that behavior. That's something that I've been working on, as Yule has brought up in public, but that's okay. That's what the lounge is for. Is as you grow, because we all grow constantly, right? We have new things new experiences that we go through every day, and you have to learn from everything. If you don't learn from your history, then you stay in the same place. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
True.
And what I mean by learn from it is not focus on the reaction to things, but focus on the root cause of the reaction. Why did you react this way? You know what I'm saying? And then when that situation arises a second time, you react differently because you've gone and done that work and understand that, okay, reacting this way is this reason. I'm not doing that no more. That's not me anymore. I'm grown. I'm a better person. So I'm not doing that no more.
Yeah.
That's because you're delivered.
I got one for you guys.
Delivered.
You can call it that.
When they talk about like real professional athletes like Tom Brady and a bunch of other guys, like greatness, like GOATs, right? Well, in the theory, anyone can be a GOAT. Anyone can be the best of anything in the world. But the only thing that why they're so intelligent and so good, other people don't really have, is intelligence and their soul. Now, meaning that anyone in this world, right, and anyone can be great, anyone.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to understand of high greatness because greatness can't ever end. You know, it can be, you know, be great of anything. It's just that how you think about the strategy, the intelligence, and what to do with, um, you know, your goal. Like, so if you messed up and now you say, okay, I messed this up. I have to do better, right? Well, we all mess up in the world, right? So nobody can't be great. It's what you're allowing, how to stop it to be great, and to listen to yourself with the strategy. So it's basically like, you know, life and everything's a strategy. It's a strategy mindset of a chess game. So it's just how you play the chess and how you play the rule of life, and to get farther and farther and farther and farther. So it's like we can talk about so much about, you know, what we can do or past, what we can do better, or what we can accomplish. But we can only accomplish so much, or mess up so much, or be great for so much. So it's a no ending limit, you
Well,
know.
I
And
think
it's always been like to talk like that, like, oh, you know, why is Tom Brady great? Well, maybe, you know, he's doing something different than this type of guy, and maybe he's doing doing his nutrition a little bit better than the other one. And even bodybuilders do
Sure.
different things. Why Arnold Schwarzenegger was the best and the best and the best? Well, because he had a great mindset to get him there, to accomplish more farther of his destination. So it's always been, so scientifically, it's always been the talk of why is what these people are so great, and how are they doing this? Well, yeah, it's their soul, their energy, and their intelligence of how they're moving forward.
well,
So
I
it's
think
basically,
it's more than just the intelligence, because sticking with the sports and all of that analogy, um, when you look at Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Tom Brady, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Ronnie Coleman, when you look at these people who are great in their respective sport, right? The what makes them great, and not say uh uh
The backup quarterback.
the backup quarterback, Smush Parker. What makes them great and not like Smush Parker,
Bush
right?
Parker. Wow.
Is the mindset, right?
yeah,
They have a certain mindset. They
where
have
they
a
want to go.
certain they have a they're not going to let anybody stop them
Mm-hmm.
from accomplishing what it is they want to accomplish.
Yep.
I'm going to work harder.
Yep.
I'm going to learn more. And if you're in my way, I'm going to run you over,
Right.
because this is where I'm going.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So, in a sense, yes, anybody can be a quote unquote GOAT of
Right.
their respective thing. It it takes a lot of sacrifice, obviously,
Right.
because they've all spoken about the sacrifices. Some of their sacrifices have been public, but
I
some
think
people have a little something extra.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? There are some people who just, that mindset is ingrained in them from childhood,
Right.
and they're going to go and push, and comfort is not a goal for them.
Right.
Most of us want to be comfortable in what we do,
Right.
right?
I'm going to.
And what how they become who they are is by not allowing anything stopping them at all.
Yeah, exactly. If
So
you're in
it's
their way,
basically a
you're getting
switch.
run
They're
over.
turning the switch on and So basically, they have a switch. Like I have a switch. Like, you know, when I wrestle, my switch will go on. That's it. You're not coming. You're not coming off that mat. You know, and then all of a sudden I turn that switch on, and I'm a nice guy. You know, being a real professional, like athletes and everything, they have that special switch. They have that gift, and they're just want to go, 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 go.
But
And
see, those who are great, who we consider GOATs,
but
their switch is turned on and it never goes off.
but
That switch never go. Kobe Bryant, right? The switch came on as a child, never went. Retired and won a Grammy.
but
Like you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Has created this entire mindset that people follow, and
Yep.
and people adopt this mindset and become great in their own aspect. So once that switch gets turned on, it's not going to go off. I mean, look at Ronnie Coleman lifted as much weight as he possibly could until his body said no, and
Yep.
he's still trying to do it
yep,
Yeah, at his age. Yeah,
at his age and
Yep.
in his condition. He's still
Yeah.
trying to do it. So when you have this mindset that I'm going to be this, and
Right.
nobody's going to get in my way, then you are on the path to becoming great.
right. And also like
Now-
humbleness. If
I don't know if any of them was humble. I ain't never met none of them in person. But I will say that once you become great, it's a lot of great people that's not GOATs.
Mm-hmm.
Once you become great,
Uh,
there's another step to becoming a GOAT.
See, then
I don't know what that is because I ain't a GOAT.
That's the one thing that so many people have been, and they like the science lately. They've been like, you know, there's so many people that study this, and they're like, well, you know, honestly, seriously, nobody can't really honestly be great, you know, and the only thing that's really make them with the greatness is basically of their records and how hard they worked to get where they are now. And that's
I
from
don't think it's.
and
Well,
I
that
don't think it's.
Look at it like this: if you look at a track meet, right? If it was the Olympics, it's the 400 or the 100 meter, seven cats in each lane racing for the gold. Usain Bolt comes out the winner. They all are great because they're in the Olympics, but the GOAT is the one who steps out and
Right.
achieves that beyond his competition. That's what makes you the GOAT when you step up
Beyond your
above.
competition,
Yeah.
multiple times. Not only
Right.
multiple times, but you have another.
Repeatedly.
You have what
But see,
makes
that
you a
goes-
GOAT in any aspect, right? Is you are what the greats attain to be.
Mm.
The greats want to be what you have.
right,
They're not trying to be better than you. Now, if you try to be better than a quote unquote GOAT, you're obviously going to wind up
right.
a GOAT. But the greats wanting to get what you have,
Right.
wanting to, you become the goalpost.
Right.
You know, that's what I say.
But
is a
like
GOAT to me.
when the one thing about the whole thing, when you know Tom Brady and all the guys, they retire, right, and they have all their stuff, and it's all on record, it's all on paper. But when they retire, they say, okay, he's the greatest of all time, right? That he is, and all of a sudden Mahomes comes in, right, and he's young. He's hungry. He wants to go there. He wants to show people that he is capable of winning and is just who he is, his energy, his soul, his mighty and his everything, right? And he goes and he wins one Super Bowl, 2 Super Bowls, okay, 3 Super Bowls, okay. Yardages here and there, yardage there and there, and then how he throws the side pass throws. And
he's
how
he's
how
been
he
to
plays.
he's also
So now,
been to other Super Bowls.
everyone then starts thinking, saying, "Well, man, maybe he's the greatest of all time," and they kind of start putting down Tom Brady. So it starts going, because it's hard, because when you retire, you're done. You're
Here's the
done
thing.
with that. So
Here's
it's
the
very
thing with
hard
that.
to
Watch this.
put in that
They're
aspect.
not saying that somebody else is a GOAT or becoming GOAT status. Is not necessarily saying that someone who was already there is not that still that same thing. So who's that? Yeah. So like with Michael Jordan and LeBron, right? So just to bring that up, just because I don't want to go off into this, because we probably talk forever. Maybe, probably not. But I just don't want to go off into it. I'm just gonna say Michael Jordan is considered the GOAT in basketball, right? LeBron James being great is not diminishing Michael Jordan. Now, you do have people that do that, but they're idiots. But what I'm saying is, these two things can be true. Tom Brady can be the greatest quarterback of all time in the National Football League, and Patrick Mahomes can be on his way to being one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time in the National Football League. But
So
the reason that they put people in that, the reason that they say those things and they put people in there is because of their mindset and their will to push.
Let me jump in there right quick. What makes a person a GOAT is that nobody will ever be able to accomplish the feat that person accomplished, ever. So if we go back to Tom Brady has a cumulative regular season and playoff 100,000 yards. What quarterback do you think in the NFL right now will be able to do that?
But if he lives long enough and continues at it, I think, because what I was going to say,
Tom Brady not playing football no more, sir.
Right. No, but what I'm saying is this, is that, and I'm talking, let's just use Patrick Mahomes. At his age, it's possible that he could surpass some of those records at his age and the way his career is going. He could do it. What I was going to say about all of this, when you look at it, you talk about GOATs, that's all relative to generations. And you got to think about this. There was a time in the 60s when people were saying people like Joe Namath was the greatest quarterback ever. You know what I'm saying? But as time came, somebody came along and broke those records. I remember when they said Walter Payton was the baddest ever. But somebody came along and broke those records. Because in life, all you got to do, like they say, like the old folks say, just keep living. Mm-hmm. And you'll see that it'll change. There was a time when you couldn't turn on TV in the 70s and 80s and you didn't see, Joe Namath on something. Now he's doing insurance commercials and you're seeing, Patrick Mahomes. Before Patrick Mahomes, you were seeing, Brady. I think it just changes. Mm-hmm. We have the argument with our boys all the time about who's better. There used to, is it, if you ask my sons, they're going to say that LeBron is better than Michael Jordan ever could be. But we always go back,
and they would be wrong.
If you put them both in their prime, which is no way to do it.
Lakers in 5.
Who would be better? My point being Lakers in 5. But my point being is that it changes in time, man.
Yep.
It changes in time. Like,
so all I want to say, man, and then we can move on to something else, because I don't want to get off into this sports talk. But if
my question,
we can let them be great. We can let greatness be great and just stop trying to figure out who's the greatest, because like you said, it's going to change every 10 years, 15 years, it's gonna change.
About 30 years.
In every sport, every 15 years, there's gonna be somebody else that they're putting up against who is undisputedly the GOAT. Every 15 years they're gonna do it.
Yep.
And in very few sports does anyone get up there. Does anyone get in that special room? And that's what, like I was saying earlier about there's a lot of great people in all different aspects of every industry on the face of the earth. The GOATs have another tier, a special room that only they can go into. And if we're going to talk about sports or we can talk about sports, it could be real estate, it could be business, whatever it is. There's another room where those GOATs go into where you're not allowed in.
Yeah.
You can be in the top 75.
Yeah.
You can be in the top 75 of the NBA, and y'all all in that big ballroom talking, but then Michael and Kobe go off into that room by themselves, and y'all can't go in there. That's coming from NBA players.
In that room.
He said bottle storage.
I have a question for you, Ray, on that topic. To be considered in the GOAT category, do they have their own action figure?
Or do they have their own shoe?
Because I do.
Or do they have their own shoe line?
But I just think, man, but furthermore, going back, kind of circling back, if you are trying to achieve that GOAT status, right? That's the end point. You have no peace going after that. You'll have no peace chasing after that GOAT status, right? So when you find whatever you can do to find your peace, that's what's important. Cody, you need to find some peace, brother. When you were talking earlier, man, you need to find some peace. And we can talk offline about where I think you can find this peace. Because I think you right at the door of where you can find this peace, but you ain't knocked yet.
Yeah.
If you knock,
I'm one of the weird ones.
If you knock, the door will be open.
Be open,
right?
If you knock, the door will be open. You just ain't knocked yet. You dealing with some things, brother, that you have to that you can't do on your own.
Or he has knocked and the door is open. He just ain't walked through.
That too. That too.
Yeah, it's
you're dealing with some things, brother, that you can't fight on your own. And I'm speaking from experience. All right. I'm speaking from experience, and we can talk offline about it, but I've gone through something similar to what you were talking about.
Yeah.
There's only one way for you to fight that. You can't do it.
Yeah. But
and also
I've been doing it for a long time, and now I'm just
you tired. And you tired. Nah, you tired. Yeah, you tired. And you need to yeah, we're gonna talk after this show.
Go on and tell him what he need to do.
Yeah, we're here.
Hey, try God.
I was just about to say it. Try God. The Bible and start reading.
Hey, my dad used to tell me all the time. He said, "Son, you've been doing this on your own for a long time. You might as well let God do it.
Let God fight your battles. You can't you do this on your own, Cody.
You can't do it on your own.
If you going to sleep and you seeing demons and you fighting with demons in your sleep, you need to go and let Jesus fight that battle for you.
Right. Where the heck's my
He's beat him already. So going on and he the GOAT.
The real GOAT.
He the GOAT. So if you talk about GOAT status, he the GOAT. You want to get the GOAT status, going on and reach out to the GOAT.
Right.
I'm gonna need your help with that, Ray.
With
We're
what?
talking about certainty.
Where's my
I'm pretty certain heaven won't have me, and the devil has a restraining order on me, so I'm gonna need you to pull me out of purgatory.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mac. There's an apartment up there with your name on it. All you got to do is sign the lease, and they'll let you in.
It let you right on in.
That's all you got to do is sign the lease.
You can leave all that other stuff behind.
Chevalier, what did you doing? Did you find that song?
I was looking for it. I can't find it.
Oh,
It's on my phone. I downloaded it to my phone. I didn't download it on my iPad, so I can't play it.
but yeah, man, you need to definitely get you some peace. You need to definitely get you some peace, because if you going through something like that every night,
So I'm trying to talk to you.
Yeah. So it might be something on you that you got to get it up off you.
I'll be good. I'm a warrior.
Okay. You say that now. You say that now. It's a lot of people thought they was warriors. A lot of people thought they was warriors until one of them demons got hold to them. You can't fight that.
How old are you?
Me, 34.
Oh yeah, he give him another 2 years or so. He get tired of bumping his head. Everybody got tired of bumping.
Yeah.
I think everybody.
That's why I always say keep living.
Yeah.
You know, life has a way of guiding you to the place where you need to be, you know, and what that place, that time and that place, you know, is you know, nobody's gonna know it but you. But life will reveal that to you and take you there. And it may be doing that right now.
Yeah.
You know, in the conversation, none of us planned on going here with this conversation. But you know, this may be the time where life is saying, you know, hey, it's time for you to, you know, change your mindset or entertain a new mindset. Maybe not change it, but entertain something a little bit different for yourself.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's important. And
at the end of the day, they say if it's going to be, it's up to me.
Yep.
At the end of the day got to end.
Facts.
Yep.
I don't know why that sounds profound to me, but I just felt like saying it. I heard it. I heard it, and it felt profound. Ooh, I think we need another vibe.
Chevalier, is that your new bird in the background?
No, that's just one of these birds up on the roof of my patio over here right now.
You got all right. He got all kind of stuff.
You know, Chevalier got a collection of birds.
Exotic animals.
He got wildlife. He got wildlife over there. He got birds. He got snakes. He got mountain lions and coyotes.
Yeah, this year is birds.
Oh, you got birds and new flowers now.
All right, guys, I gotta head out. My phone's dying.
All right, man.
I gotta charge it.
All right.
I'll see you guys later.
Go pray.
Later. Yeah.
Later.
So what was the topic, Doc? I was bouncing in and out.
We was talking about the role of silence in a loud world, but I think and then he brought up the fact that he's like fighting with demons in his sleep.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So we had to pivot for a second and do a little work.
Yeah,
but anyway,
that's good.
Yeah, we do that. We do that from time to time. I think, like, I hear where he's going, but I just think that I feel like I think y'all hit it right when you said it's time for you to start looking at something new in your spiritual work, your spiritual life, or maybe not so much a suggestion that, but maybe just asking the question, you know, where are you spiritually right now? Because that, you know, just like we all know the old folks, and they say let me go back to the Bible. Men doesn't, what does it say, man? Jeff, you could probably, it is with man wrestles with principalities. It's not about flesh and something, but man wrestles with something in principality.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. I can't. Yeah.
But I think with him, when because I wasn't saying anything, I just wanted to kind of hear him, and I kept thinking about that. Like, there's some things that are going on with him, and we had this conversation last year with him. We didn't go to that space. He's been gradually kind of going upward with that, and he's experiencing more and more that's almost concerning. And you know,
Yeah.
he's talked about his past, and he's probably watching. And Cody, you know, we brothers. I'm not putting your business out there, but some of the things he's experienced, man, I think it's kind of shaped his mind. Where it's like when we talked about peace earlier, and how do you deal with the noise? I think, man, what he does now, he just fucking deals with the noise, and you know, it may take him to a good place sometimes. It may take him to a bad place. But whichever one he's in, he doesn't understand either one of them. And I think he's got to find some peace before he hits, you know, some serious, you know, mental issues with that shit, you know.
Yeah, sometimes you can deal with the noise for so long and then it start getting loud to you.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, dealing with it, it ain't loud enough. It ain't aggravating enough for you to stop dealing with it.
Right. I think you know, he's definitely, I feel like he's moving in the right direction, but I felt like, and I was gonna go there when we got off, but thank you, Jeff, for keeping me focused and on track and getting it out now, because I'm definitely not ashamed. You know, I'm definitely not ashamed. I just, knowing his background and how he grew up and some of the things he's experienced, I didn't want to bring that out again unless he wanted to.
Right.
But yeah, I think that a lot of those things are weighing on him, and a lot of times when things like that, like when he said he doesn't deal with anything, he just goes on, just letting it sit there, like you were saying earlier, Junior Lily, like it's just sitting there dangling, just hanging there behind you, all around you. Eventually, you can't see anymore.
Right.
So now you just have to say, oh, well, I guess this is what it is. You know.
I got a song for you, Ray, when you're ready. Go ahead, talk. I'll just letting you know I got something.
And I think that once you start to clear some of these things out, be it understanding and I don't really want to say like talking it out, because a lot of times that's not for everybody to talk it out, but not holding on to it anymore. When you start to let go of these things, and you can knock these things from hanging from the ceiling.
Even if you're just walking down the street talking to yourself and just put it out there in the air, let it go.
Yeah,
let it go.
Because once you start letting these things go, then you can see, you know. And right now, where you're sitting, you're like, this is what it is. But then you get rid of some of these things, you can see, it's something over there, you know. Go ahead.
Can't keep boxing it up.
Oh yeah,
right.
That's the hard part.
Sooner or later, it's going to explode.
Yep.
Yeah.
The box can only hold so much.
Yep.
Yeah, but one thing that I learned from an earlier age is a man in flesh form cannot address a spiritual element, because we just not in that level of knowledge and understanding. And that's why, as you guys have mentioned, he has to give it to a higher power who can address it in their element, because that's the world that is resides in. Yeah.
Exactly. Come on with your song, Chevalier.
All right, this one I'm gonna hit you with. Hold on a second. You ain't never ready. Nah, I was ready, but then I just wasn't ready no more.
So you ain't ready.
He's not.
Just do to say you are. You
Welcome
ain't.
to seniors.
Look,
go and get your AARP card now.
Hey, you started talking.
You should have it already.
I was supposed to get it 7 years ago. I was supposed to get it 7 years ago. I did, but I don't know what's going on. It disconnected from my sound bar out here. But here we go. So this one's called "Hold It Down" by Alice Stone. You know, listen to the words.
Everybody's telling me to move, but when I do, I always seem to lose. Not gonna spend my time chasing what is new. I'm leading way down, one step behind you.
The reason I chose this song was because we dealt with something like this a couple years ago, and the conversation led to this, man. It talks about, you know, being patient, man, and let shit kind of work out in your head. It just kind of came to me, you know, as he was talking, and then we started talking about it. And you know, everybody's got an idea and opinion about what you want to do, but you gotta figure that out for yourself and seek something that gives you some peace. You know, you can't keep trying to figure it out in the past. You know what I'm saying? You gotta keep going.
It seems like when this is like the second time we've had a show like this where we've had to stop everything and focus on one person. But that's what we created it for. You know, that's what it was created for. And I pray that he's okay right now. You know what I mean? I just pray that he's okay right now.
He like caught in the struggle between yesterday and tomorrow, and you hear him talking about that. He's right here, right now, man. He has a dire desire for tomorrow to look a certain kind of way, but he keeps trying to fucking deal with yesterday. He can't get there, man. And I think when he, like all of the stuff with the dreams and things, man, it's like symbolic of the fucking struggle that goes on where he is today. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, I thought about this song and just want to tell him, hold it down, man. You just gotta, you know, find your space so you can be quiet, man, when those things come to give you peace. But you gotta stop with yesterday. Like at the age he's at right now, man, if he don't get that together, it's gonna take him to a really dark place, man. It scares me for him, you know, without us like putting it out there. But he had some bad shit going on, and he's gonna have to deal with that. He just gotta be still, man. He gotta stop reaching forward to tomorrow.
That's what he has to do.
Yeah, he keeps, like the song said, he just got to hold it down for right now. Stop looking at tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be what it is once you reconcile today or yesterday. You got to reconcile yesterday and let that shit go so you can move forward. That's the thing that scares me.
The problem with holding on to the past is it don't ever let you get to the future.
Right.
That part.
You know,
it's like an anchor. It's an anchor.
It is an anchor. The more you hold on to it, it slows you down to get into the next phase of your life. You know, I mean, I'm sure everybody on this platform today have been through some things that they didn't think they was gonna make it through. You know,
no doubt.
Oh yeah.
And so, you know, you go through those things, and one of my favorite sayings is the best thing about pain is it lets you know you're not dead.
Yeah.
If you can feel the pain, you can get up and wash off and heal and continue to move forward. But if you still hold on to the pain, it hurts, and you keep re-injuring yourself.
Yeah.
The more you think about it, it's like re-injuring yourself all over again, and you go through the pain all over again, and you just like you said, let it go.
Yeah. No, he just got to find something, man, right now that he can focus on. You know, and it could be counseling, it could be music, it could be cigars. The community, man, he does a lot in this community. But whatever it is, man, he got to find something in his today that he can immerse himself into to quiet yesterday's noise, man. Until he does that tomorrow, I'm afraid what
the danger with finding something to immerse yourself in right now to quiet the noise is that becomes God to you. If it's alcohol, if it's working out, whatever it is that you immerse yourself in to quiet the noise, that's gonna become God to you. And what you don't want is to let that become God to you. What he needs to do is pick up a Bible and read. That's
But
what he needs to do.
even that, like you almost have to be careful in what you tell him to do. And I think whatever he does, he's gotta pair it with some counseling.
Yep.
You know, he needs, yeah, he's gotta find something balanced. You know, that some counseling, whatever that looks like for him, he needs that and some counseling too, because he needs to find when he goes backwards into yesterday, he needs something that's going to level him out that he can focus on. You know, as he's going through the steps of accepting and releasing yesterday's, thing, man. But like looking toward to the future, I just feel like that's why and he's been doing this for years, man, battling, mentally with things, man. And I'll mention this. I remember we had the conversation about kids last year, at the beginning of last year on one of the lounges, and how it really tore him up because I've had a lot of conversations with him, and I think he is a great parent. But every now and then, that show was one of them where he kept going back to what he went through, which surprisingly hasn't had a big bearing on how he treats his kids now. But if you remember, Ray, he was very impatient with just the noise of having a kid, like the kid crying and stuff. And now inside of him, man, it was like rage battling in there. And he could clearly look back and see where it came from. And I found that to be really interesting, man, and scary at the same time. And so that's why I said I felt like he needed to find something now. I guess I should go further and say, find something positive now that you can find some balance with and put some counseling to go with that. And let that be like your saving grace when you find yourself. They always tell you, when anger. Whenever I get in a space where I feel like I'm getting real angry, man, and I can't control myself, there's things that I do. Sometimes it's come out here and turn some music on or flip the TV on, man. And and I'll show you because I have it on right now because I do it all the time. It's something about those pictures of castles, man. I have it on my screensaver on the TV. And as they change, man, they take me to a different place. You know what I'm saying? Like it really literally quiets my mind. And it gives me a minute looking at it. I find myself, and over time you kind of master it. You find yourself saying, "Damn, that's a pretty place." You start. For me, I'm able to look and go, "Shit, man, it gives me some time to chill." And he needs that. He needs that. I did years of counseling. I went to counseling. I told you, Ray, I went for almost 5 years because I needed to get myself to a place where I had something that I could focus on when I felt myself repeating the mistakes of the people in my family that came before me, And so, we know him.
Positive affirmation.
Yeah. It helps you with self-talk in that, as you go through those stages of that, when you're doing the counseling, you learn about positive self-talk and accepting yourself. When you're constantly practicing positive self-talk, you start to believe your positive self-talk. But if you don't have anything to feed into that, to take it away from the shit that you focused on that you're trying to get over, you ultimately end up repeating that same life. I did it. And so, he's got
a reel of all good times, pictures and stuff, a birth of children, stuff like that, with a real favorite song. And when you feel that everything is coming down and you're feeling weighted, heavy, you can just sit back, put on the headphones, fire on that reel, and just watch it. Sometimes I'll sit for an hour watching a 30-second reel.
Yeah.
Just sort of over and over again, and it brings you back to those good moments. And then you can accept what happened yesterday, and you can walk away from it.
I think that's the difference right there is accepting what happened, right? Because as humans, we always have to rationalize. We always have to understand. And I think that's where you were going earlier, Junior Lily. We're talking about
Yeah.
closure, and when I was saying I don't care for closure because
Yeah.
I don't need to understand why you did the thing that you did or why this happened that way, because
Yeah.
understanding it isn't going. It might help me with you, like the friend I was talking about. If we did have a conversation and I understood, and he told me about what happened and why he did this, and I said, "Oh," and I understood his thought process, it might help me with dealing with him, but that ain't gonna help me at all.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And if I'm not going to pursue a friendship with you, what's the point?
Yep.
Like when you see all of the, people talking about they need closure for past relationships and stuff like that, it didn't work out. I don't need to talk to you about it. I got fired. I don't need to talk to you about it.
Yep.
If me and a friend of mine argue, if me and Chevalier argue and we don't talk no more, then it's a reason that he's not talking to me. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason he's not talking to me. Now, if it's something I did, then it's not looking for closure. It's me saying, "Hey, did I do something to upset you?" I've also had a friend who stopped talking to me for a while, and I didn't know that I had said something that upset him on one of the another live. I had said something that had upset him. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I found out from someone else that I said something that upset him. So I reached out to him, and now we're friends. But I didn't do it because I needed to understand it. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I did it because I did something to hurt him.
Yep, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So now we need to have this. I want to have this conversation. And if he'd have said, "I don't want to talk to you," that's it. I don't need to know why or nothing. Okay. And I because you have to accept those things that happen.
Yep.
If it's in the past, you can't do anything about it. You can apologize, which does not take away the pain of whatever it is that happened.
But you can't change it.
I can't go back and change it. Just like when Rafiki hit Simba in the head, and Simba said, "What'd you do that for?" And he said, "It doesn't matter. It's in the past." Simba said, "It still hurts." And Rafiki said, "Well, yeah, sometimes the past will hurt for a while.
Yeah.
But there's nothing you can do about it. It's in the past."
Because you gotta either accept it or, like you said, or make a move to correct it as best you can. You can't change it. The one thing you know about the past, we can never change it, but we can do one or two things. We can accept it, or we can take actions to make it more palatable. Because it's there and it ain't going nowhere. But in making it more palatable, we may, take some form of action. If we wrong
Well,
somebody,
that's acceptance.
like you said, yeah. But when we take the action, we're not only accepting it, but we're taking action to course correct. Where we are as it relates to that. And I think as men, that's something that's big, because a lot of times, a lot of men haven't learned the art of course correct because of ego, pride, the teachings of our predecessors, our family, whoever they may be. We hadn't learned that, and so we have to start to accept, our limitations, and then find ways to correct the behavior that got us where we are today.
I think that, and we might be going into something that could potentially be another topic, but I think
it is
more than ego, right? It's that we don't have a space where we feel comfortable to do so.
Yes,
Yeah.
we do. It's called the lounge.
More
What
than
we do now is called the lab.
yeah, but what I mean is, I mean, and this is live, right? So you
Yeah.
might not feel comfortable saying certain
Doing
things
things in front of other
for
people.
sure.
on the live, you know. Now we can start, which we should start doing one where we're not live. People might be, you know, might be dealing with something and more inclined to talk about it not live. But I think it's more than us having ego that doesn't allow us to do that. I think it's more of a not having a space where we feel comfortable enough to put all of these things down, to take all of this off, right?
So what I hear you saying is rooted in fear, which is the basis of a lot of things, you know,
Well,
that we
What's
do.
that old
not even
analogy? The
Be
past
comfortable, just the
is the past.
comfortability.
You can't change it. The future's not guaranteed. So all you have is today, and that's
Today.
why they call it the present.
exactly,
Gift of life.
which is a gift, which is a gift. I think I don't want to say it's fear because it's not necessary. It is some fear, right? But it's not all fear. It's fear of not looking strong, right?
Yep.
The fear of looking weak, but it's also more, not more, just not having a space. You know what I'm saying? If there is a space, if you build it, they will come. If there is a space where a man can go and feel comfortable taking all that he's carrying on his shoulders off and
Yeah.
sit it down,
Not be judged.
and without judgment, and there's a group of brothers around him that have also taken off what it is, you know, that they've been carrying. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Then that comfort level will rise, and we'll be able to talk about things and let go of certain things. You know
Well,
what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that, like, I hear what you're saying about us not doing it live, but one of the things, and Lily, you weren't around when we first started some years ago, but we did create.
Yes, he was.
Was he? Was he? No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. He came around toward the end of season 2, season
Right
3.
when y'all did the Cigar Symphony.
That's when we met him.
That's when, yeah,
That's
that's when I
been 2
met him.
years ago.
But I wasn't.
That's
I wasn't.
2 years ago. That
Okay,
was
so
in
not
20.
so season 2. All right.
Yeah. And so we, when we did that, if you remember, Ray, that's when Big Country kind of jumped in with us, and we didn't quite know him back then, but he jumped in, and we started realizing different things. I had met him here in Dallas for the first time, and we started realizing a lot of things, and we kept our conversations like this. We focused on breaking down broad issues into small segments on each show where we could touch different things to ease the guys that were watching into feeling comfortable, opening up and being vulnerable. Remember, we talked about vulnerability all the time. We broke it down.
Which is why our last 2 shows
Mhm.
have been designed this way.
Yeah.
Because remember, we started back up. We had about three or four shows that was just whatever was going on, whatever. But we had to get back to what we do, you know. And the thing about doing it live, some people might not want to share certain things live.
That's true.
But then there are people who need to hear
some of the things
that you've gone through something and you've come back.
They can relate.
So that's why, they can relate to it, and they might be going through some of the same things. But again, like I say, we have to get back to be in that space. You know what I'm saying? We have to get back to that.
We can keep it live. I think what happens is, and what happened was, I remember once I shared my journey, with domestic violence and the different things, and with some of the criticism I got more of, man, I've been on this same journey, You know, I got the inbox messages and you know, there was calls. I told you about it where I call somebody and give them some, you know, give them some things or some tools that I learned to help them to deal with all those things. Remember, I asked this one question, and I think it's what set us on the path with that shit. What about the board? You remember that? And so I think depending on how what we're doing on the live, man, they may not be comfortable, but they definitely come back at the end and say, "Hey, man, I want to talk to you about this." And I think we have to be open to say, "Hey, okay, I will talk to you about this. Let's talk about it. Here's my number." You
My,
know, or
that's
message.
what
You know,
exactly. My bad,
yeah,
Mac and Junior Lily for covering y'all faces, but it's a big comment.
Understood.
Guys,
So
just trying to
my
read it.
wife asked us, have y'all considered starting something for young men to help them not repeat the patterns of withholding things they need to talk about? Something like breaking the cycle. I think that's something that we definitely need to do.
yeah,
We need to, I think getting back to the way that the show was, getting back to
originally,
the essence of the show, right?
right?
Getting back to that, because we've had some young guys on here,
Yeah, yeah, we have.
but we need to reach more. So I think that we need to first get back to the essence of the show and then figure out how we move in that direction, because we definitely need to help people.
I think the
And
younger generation is more open to an open forum like this.
Oh, no doubt. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
They don't have the same stigma that my generation and Yule's generation of the, you know, the man's the provider, he's the protector, you know, you don't cry, you don't show pain, you persevere through it. And the kids coming up now that are, you know, young or in their teens, they've had this kind of exposure to
Exposure
talking
thing.
about their feelings
Yeah.
right,
and stuff, where in my generation, my old man, you something happened, tape an aspirin to it and get the hell back out there. Lick your
tape an
wounds and
aspirin
carry
to it.
on.
Tape it, aspirin. You don't even take it.
Take an aspirin to your thoughts. They put
I
a
think
damn aspirin right here on your temple. You thinking about some bullshit you suffered? They tape an aspirin right here.
Put some
well,
Rogaine.
I think that we need to. I mean, even if we don't focus on just the young guys, because there's people of every generation who need a space like this, who need a space to be able to come and talk and no judgment, get it out. We can get it out. We can all talk about it. We can all take off the things that we're carrying when we come into the lounge. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
For sure.
You know,
You guys,
so while we're talking, I've been playing some music. I know we're at the end of the show, but there's a song I'm playing by Dead Dream called Eclectic Soul. And so we talked about finding our peace and dealing with this. So I'll give you a perfect example. I went through some shit after I broke my leg, right? I had a lot of time to think. Ray, I talked to you about it and how I wanted to give up on, you know, the things that I was doing here, the cigar culture, and I was really plagued by it. And I picked up the phone and I called Ray. But one day I was laying out here, I had my leg propped up on the table, and this song came on from a local artist out of Baltimore, a group called Dead Dream, right?
Well, that's not local, sir.
It's not local, but they're local in Baltimore. But where I'm going is, it was something about this song. I played it, man, and I'm not bullshitting. I'm not being funny. I played it. I was going through this time, right? And I played it. And it was something about this song that just touched me, man. And I hear it. I play it all the time when I get down. But it was something about this song that just spoke hope into my heart, man. And I don't have a lot of times when I'm down. You know, Ray, you know this. I'm very rare that I'm down. I'm emotional. I cry and shit. But
A lot.
at this point in my life, man, I was I had looked back over my life, man, and where I am today, and I'm grateful. I live a great life, but I it was through this song that I found some peace that I don't even know where it came from. I didn't write the motherfucker. I had heard it for the first time. And it was something about it listening to me that it brought me to tears, man, because I was in that space. But I listened to the song, I picked up the phone and I called you, Ray, and I opened up. I told you, man, I gotta tell you about some shit I've been going through that I didn't even understand. And so I think like when we talking like we talked earlier, you gotta find something that you can latch on to, man, that touches your soul. And it might not be music like it is for me. Cigars and music and chilling, that gets me there. But for some people, man, it could be a cigar. For some people, it's a walk. Some people, they need to feel free. We got to find a way to, on through the show, to tap, to help people to tap into their emotions the way this song tapped into mine.
Yeah.
And I think, man, when we discover that, it may not be so hard. We may just have to take our time, man, and do like we did tonight. When we recognize something, shit, we all hands on deck. You know what I'm saying? But like as you were talking, Ray, this song just hit me. That's why I just started playing it, because I think it just speaks to the struggle, the highs and the lows that we as men experience, man, that we don't feel safe talking about. And we got to create something that makes that happen. That's my ring.
I think
Dead dream.
I think the way that we do that, man, is to go back to the essence of the show.
Right.
And us ourselves opening up,
Yeah.
And the more we do that, there'll be others who come on. As Mount Olympus said, he said most of us older guys need to let things off their mental before trying to have these conversations with the younger youth. So as we do it, and we let things go, and they see us taking off all that we carry and being vulnerable and being transparent, then other men will come in and do the same. And once they start doing it, then we have a community of men who are
movement.
Yeah, we got a movement.
Give them permission.
And and exactly, it gives them permission to come in and take off what they're carrying and be vulnerable out and talk about the things that they're going through.
Right.
So that way we can all work together to help whoever is the person that needs the help at the time. Like you said, we realize when someone is on the screen or someone is in the comments and there's an issue, we're all hands on deck. Whatever the topic is, whatever the show is, it stops, and that we pivot, and that's the focus.
That's the focus.
And I think that we just need to continue to do that. So that means I gotta get back to doing the work and finding these powerful topics, because we can't have a whole lot of shows where we're not doing anything. We're not doing the work that we started out doing.
We can have fun, but I think, even in our fun, when we
It's got to have a purpose.
Recognize something, it's got to have a purpose, man. And the show has had a purpose. I don't think there's ever one show, maybe our first one when we came back from PCA, that we didn't really have a purpose. We just wanted to shoot the shit. But when you think back to that, Ray, that was something for me and you, because we both had been through some shit. We had both personally had been through some shit during that time. And so we decided, I remember riding home that day, and we always got topics. You and I both, we come up with topics, and, we have people that call us with great topics like Maduro Melly and different people like that. But, there is a time when we can do that, and we can be more light. But even in some of our lightest shows, man, by the time we got to the Vibe, we was on some serious shit, because there was something that was said that registered with somebody that made them come out and say something. And we were all over. And I think we just got to stay with that. We come with the topics and everything, but the lounge is, no matter what people say, what's going on, family? The lounge, no matter what can be said about it, is widely known for being a space where men and women now can come and really get some things off their chest over cigars. We
Exactly.
understand the blends, we understand the flavors, and we understand the culture, and we all got our different opinions and views on it. But when we're sitting here smoking, we're not talking about that. We talk about real life, and I don't think that we've gotten so far away from it. I think that you and I have talked about a lot of stuff, and we have to go back to sharing our experiences and
Yeah.
asking others like Junior Lily, like Mac, like even like Orlando. I see Orlando jump in here a few minutes ago. We've had other people to say, we've asked them, say, man, what do you deal with when it comes to this? We've asked simple questions that have resulted in change
Amazing
for
conversations
somebody.
and change. Yeah.
And we just got to
Yeah.
keep it simple. Every time, man, you and I have sat down and had a phone conversation and said, we're going to be intentional about finding this. We never find what we're looking for. Every time that we just came on here being us, we always hit the topic where we needed to hit the topic, and it was meaningful for people that need to do it. Even
That's
you
true.
remember the show? Think about what my oldest son Jalen came on. You remember that? And
Yep.
we got to talking about how young men communicate versus how we communicate. And Max said it earlier, young people are a lot more open as it relates to communicate. They don't have the fear to communicate their feelings. And I think when some of us older guys first started looking at it, we looked at it as being soft or having some
Yeah.
gay tendencies. No,
We
they were more in touch with their emotions where we needed to be, but we were afraid to fucking be there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we really do have to. We gotta. I don't think we should change the essence of the show where it is
Well,
today.
no, I'm not saying that we need to change the essence of the show where it is today. What I'm saying is we need to because we kind of lost it a little bit. Not a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, I see Chopper. Every show he
just
out
went
here.
with the flow of the
He just came out here and sat right here beside me. He just
He
decided
say
to
it's
come out.
showtime. He need to be on the camera. But I think we just got to make sure that we continue to realize these things and make sure that we have these meaningful conversations as opposed to us just sitting on here just talking and saying whatever we want, with no clear direction.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And when I say
you've had great
go ahead.
direction, Ray. You've had where you keep talking about it. I mean, originally when I first got on, it was always, this is a safe space for men to be able to speak. But then we came to the realization a lot of the issues that men were having were with their significant others. And you guys immediately saw what that was worth, and you brought on women
Yeah.
to come into the lounge to give their perspective so men, we could understand each other. I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah. That's and maybe thank you, Mount Olympus. Instead of me saying go back to the essence of the show, because we haven't lost that, rejuvenate, the show. Basically making sure that we breathe more life into the show and the topics that need to be there.
Yeah.
We have fun, but when it's time to work, it's time to work.
Right.
That's all I mean. So
yeah, we focused and we thought that we started worrying at a certain point. We got away from it fast, but we started worrying about growing it. And the thing about the lounge is growing organically. Both of us get messages all the time about, I went back and watched the show, and things like that. So it's I think it's just something we, like you said, rejuvenate is the perfect word. Mount Olympus, he been a little under the weather, so yeah, I was telling him come on in, but that shoulder stuff he got going on.
Yeah.
But we
Well,
appreciate everybody that supports us all, man. We appreciate it. This is always an open forum, and if you want to come on,
and it
even
will
if we talk
stay an
about
open
something,
forum.
it's gonna always be an open forum,
It's
man.
always going to be an open forum. If we're talking
Yeah,
about something and you want to talk about something else, come on and we can pivot.
we can
We've
pivot.
always done that.
Yeah,
So it's 9:21, man. You know what
yeah.
time
It's
it
time
is.
to hit the clip.
So this is Ashes and Glasses. This is the way that we like to end the show. I saw Junior Lily just finished off whatever he was drinking, but it don't matter.
Yeah.
Everybody on screen got to give a toast. The toast ain't got to be serious. Toast can be funny. Toast can be whatever you want the toast to be. If you got toast in the comments, put them in the comments. We'll read them on screen. We're happy to have our resident champion, the champion of Ashes and Glasses, Mac the Cigar Advocate, back with us this week. But we're going to start with Junior Lily since he's the new kid on the block.
The new kid on the block. I do got a comment that I would like to share that's related to today's show and what we've been talking about. And I think it's important that we understand the difference and how it may affect us. There are things we can control, and then there are things that are beyond our control. But when we got to find peace, that's what we can control. We control that.
Oh yeah,
Most definitely, man.
yeah.
Most definitely.
Oh yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers. I'm cigar toasting. One
You
drink
cigar
tonight.
toasting.
Yeah, one drink tonight, man. I wasn't even gonna drink, but I wanted to have a drink because, to be honest, man, I
You
needed
scared
to
of
show that.
You scared of that rum. So
I'm scared of that shit.
Mount
I'm looking at
Olympus.
the bottle.
Mount Olympus says, wait a minute.
I think that's an older comment.
Yeah, don't worry about that. I'm doing two things at once. Leave me alone. He says, here's to rejuvenation and getting back to blessing and healing our community.
Yes, sir. Cheers.
Chevalier, you up.
Here's to holding it down, accepting where you are today, and finding ways to move forward constructively. That's it.
Cheers.
Cheers. So we gotta let Mac go last.
Gotta go last.
He gotta go.
You need
last.
some theme music.
So my toast is this toast goes to everybody who's dealing with something, who may not understand what they're dealing with. I pray that you find peace. Cheers.
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 You're here.
All right. Mac, the Cigar Advocate. It's time for your toast, sir.
Okay, on a sidebar, did you happen to notice my superhero doll yesterday?
Yep, I did.
That was pretty cool. Yeah. A cigar
Yeah, that was
shop
some cool shit.
3,000 miles away from me put that together.
That was nice.
There you go. You can be great. All you have to do is a 15-second comedy reel every day, and Bob's your uncle's superhero.
There you go.
There it is.
So I'd like to give a toast to marriage, the secret of marriage. The secret is to learn what really upsets your partner, and then to use it strategically for the rest of your life.
That's pretty good.
Oh man, that was a good one. That was a good one. This has been The Lounge. We do it every Thursday at 7 p.m. We go live on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. Follow our YouTube, follow our Instagram channel, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also join our Facebook group. There's gonna be a lot more things coming from us. We appreciate each and every one of y'all. Hold it down.
Yep.
Yo.